Yeah, that's a good question. So we've had that question this week about should we sing a song of songs. Well, yeah, you can sing it in the shower if you find a good musical setting to it. I'm sure I said to some people, I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. But public worship's different, and we believe that the Psalter, the 150 psalms, hymns and spiritual songs are given for public worship. That's what Paul's commanding. Those three are words, psalms, hymns, spiritual songs, spirit-given songs. They are, if Paul were to lift his translation of the Old Testament and look at the Psalms, and if you open yours, you'll see that many of the Psalms have a title. If Paul picks his Old Testament off his shelf and looks at the Psalms and sees their titles, he sees those three words in many of them. That's from the Greek translation, which is basically the Apostles' Bible. Many of the quotes in the New Testament are from the Greek translation of the Old. So that's part of it. And why do we say the Psalms are given for public worship? Well, that's what Paul specifies, the Psalms, the hymns and the spirit-given songs. It's clearly a reference to the Psalter. It's also, this is significant, this was the practice of the synagogue. And synagogue, Christian worship grew out of the synagogue. That was the model, really. Third thing, many of the Psalms, I've been struck by this over the years, preaching through the Psalms. You know, we sort of pass over the titles, but one of the most common phrases in the titles is for the director of worship, for the worship leader. It's given for it's explicitly, those titles are scriptural. It's explicitly given for public worship. So it's not just that these are songs in the Bible, it's that this has been given for public worship. So that's why we make a distinction. So it's a good question, a valid question. But what you see is, you read Chronicles and you see songs in Chronicles and they sound a lot like Psalms. They are Psalms. What I think has happened is that they've been taken and adapted and edited for the Psalter. I can't prove this. It's just my own pet theory, but Psalm 45, which we sung a time or two this week, I think that's pretty much a singing version of the Song of Songs. It's been adapted and fitted for public worship. Like, it's just, the theme's the same, the imagery is very similar, it's just like a singable version of Song of Songs. So that's what I would. It's a good question, but that's why we make a distinction.